The Lord and Savior Doubt, or the Lord of HRE. Or at least he's starting to become one again. Matisse versus Doubt. That's right. Matisse, we've seen what he can do. We actually watched him a few days ago on the HRE. Damn good showing, and for good reason. This guy was one of the HRE GOATs. Think back to release. Think back to people just being amazing at X or Y Civ. Matisse, the thing he was amazing at was without a doubt... Wait. Okay, I see what I've done there. Without a doubt, it was indeed the HRE. In fact, if you asked me to name the 3 best HRE players at release, I would say it was Matisse, Guz, and Hut. It's interesting as well, because one of them you're like, oh, damn, look at what Hut's doing now. I think Matisse is going to surprise you guys. I actually think Matisse is going to surprise a fair few people this month. I think he's going to be no one where people go, oh, hi, yeah, look at him now. Because if you think about certain civs coming back into the picture as really potent ones, the HRE for a while now, the Abbasids, you are seeing the return of these players that maybe didn't have the same amount of time they could dedicate or weren't finding the same level of success as other players that were specializing on these civs. Matisse with the HRE, he also became a Roos main this year. That's why you didn't see as much of him on the Holy Romans. But then even when you look at Magic playing stuff like the Abbasids, which is a classic for him. Also, shout out to Chapel coming through to the sub. Appreciate you, man. For 6 months! Woo! I don't even know if I'll be here in 6 months. Who knows? Maybe I'll be like a AoE free streamer. You don't know where you're going to be, but apparently you want to be here. Mwah, appreciate it, dude. Well, I know who's going to be here still in 6 months. You know, doubt question marks, right? This guy, he's already qualified for AoE 2. Does he want to hang around AoE 4? You know, we'll have to see. He at least wants to try and qualify for the AoE 4 World Law. But on the other side, Matisse. Matisse, I expect to be hard in the grind for a long time. You know, Matisse, he might be the type of player that I think has enough talent at micro level that I could see him maybe trying to make a switch further down the line to Stormgate if, you know, AoE 4 doesn't work out. But he's been hard sweating. He's been hard grinding. In fact, if you guys haven't happened upon this guy, right now he is ranked 32nd on the leaderboard. He's been fairly consistent around those rankings for the last week or two. On his account, like last season, he came in 84th at the end, but he had 254 games played. Not that impressive. Okay, that is, in my opinion, that's impressive, but I know you guys aren't going to be impressed. You know, you want your golden 8s, right? You want your top 10s. How about this? If last season he'd done 254 games, this season already he's done 286 games with a 57% win rate in 32nd place. Mark my words, Matisse will be in the top 20 before the end of the month. Why will he do that? He knows the Roos inside out. He knows the HRE inside out. He's fleshing out to 1 or 2 additional civs, as will be required if you want to make some deep runs into Warlaw. I think genuinely he has like a firm base to build upon with the HRE and the Roos. Speaking of the base, this generation, oh, this is more than firm. This is toit. This is nice. Look at this. Wood, food, and gold all underneath the Archon Chapel. Mwah! Could not be asking for more here. I mean, maybe, you know, could have the stone, but you don't need stone. You can't, of course, get the deer because the deer are forward, south side of his TC. But overall, this is a remarkably good placement because actually, you know, it's more worthwhile to have these free resources than try to go for the deer and maybe get the wood, which you struggle to do anyway. Yeah, deer is 0.84 and sheep are 0.75, but you're getting an extra 40%. So this vastly exceeds what you get on the deer. Worst case scenario, if you really did feel you need the deer, you can just plop down a prelate over here with a mill and go ham, but, well, go venison in this situation. But he doesn't need that. I don't think he actually needs that. What you'll probably see coming out of him, because he'll be able to buff his wood line, he can actually transition gradually into farms without ever needing to even think about the deer. This can be quite useful in this matchup if you're worried your opponent's going to try to feign aggression early on, because it means that you can condense your entire economy behind your TC and you don't actually need to react to him. Let's have to see what Doubt's reaction is going to be. It looks like he is on the stone already, so we're going to get a secondary TC. Now, it doesn't look like he's rushing it that fast, but believe me, folks, he is. Remember that he's buffing these villagers. So although it's 5 villagers there, with an extra 40% involved, you're close to like 7 or 8 villagers working. Okay, it's actually close to 7. but it's still fast, especially the wood coming in. And this has been scouted out, so Matisse now has options. You can either try to rush Castle Age, or you can try to get aggressive. The kind of crazy part about this matchup is these timings that seem like, you know, they should offer up big windows of opportunity. Say, for example, one person go TC, the other one going quick castle, are very skewed because of the nature of the HRE. Because their economy is buffed up so much, you have to imagine you're playing this matchup at 1.5 times speed. While the distance between you can stay the same because you're both being rushed at that speed, the game as a whole moves faster. So this whole idea of, like, I get an extra 2-3 minutes advantage because you went for this TC isn't always true depending on what you do with it. If you do a castle up, sure, but if you're talking about military production, remember, while their economy is inflated, their military production speed is not. I think this is something that gets slept on a lot with the HRE, is that when you kind of dissect them in that manner, you realize why the game moves so fast. So if you want to punish this Civ, you have to find the right way to do so, and in a mirror matchup, it might be more valuable just to rush castle than to try and aggress. And I think that's what we've seen out of Matisse. You can see he's prepped the racks anyway. Maybe he gets 1 or 2 troops maximum out, but he's going to be looking to make his way up. He saw the horseman come out for doubt, so this is strictly for defense. And it's a good call, because if he had gone for that aggression, as we just highlighted, you can't easily escalate how quickly you build all these troops. Your opponent, however, can escalate his economy, and it means that there's going to be less opportunities to exploit his greed. Matisse. With a quick tech up timing, we'll probably look to take control of the relics. In this type of map, that can be very dangerous for Doubt. You can see how evenly dispersed all of the relics are in the mid-map. The backup ones being incredibly close to both of their bases. The thumbs up for Doubt is by placing the TC down here, he did block out any gathering of this relic from his opponent. The thumbs down element, though, is that he's being counted out with his horseman investment by spears alone. And Matisse is now ready to tech up. And this will be fast, because he wants his prelates as quickly as possible. I'm a little bit worried that Doubt actually baited himself now, actually. So he went for 2 horsemen. He also invested in that stables initially, 150 wood. Now he's setting up double racks. The reason he's doing this is because he's playing from behind the spearman count. The problem I have with his choice to do spearman here is that your opponent doesn't care when it comes to the relics. Like, if you move out towards them, spearmen aren't easily going to chase down these prelates. What might work better is once he completes his own tech up, using one of these racks to push out a single Langsneck. One Langsneck in these melee mesh pits can easily rinse your opponent. Let's see if it goes for now. Matisse is moving out for the relics already. Matisse looks like he's going to greedily pick up the flank relic straight away. I love this play. He could have went for the central relic, yes, but keep in mind that's on the open battlefield. It's probably being scouted. It's where Doubt is most likely going to contest you. So instead, he goes on the flanks where he knows that Doubt can't be. Because although Doubt initially invested in horsemen, he lost one of them. He almost lost the second one. There's no way he invests into more because he'll delay his castle age too much. It's actually a brilliant read by Matisse. Doubt gets the bad news. Tech up complete for his opponent. Doubt past the halfway mark on his own way to Castle Age, but remember that he is side investing into military at the same time. That is going to slow him down. Another detail to think about is the fact that he has played out with that secondary TC. He has to build prelates out here to keep everything buffed up. That's another 100 gold investment per. And at this stage, with this many villagers, if you want to be min-max efficient on your Holy Inspiration, you would need 2 prelates. Doubt. Early man-at-arms coming out. He needs something that can just hold long-term on these fights, but my concern right now is there's so few melee units here, the prelate could just pick up the relic and will push you away, especially with the first knights now arriving. Matisse, good reaction, pulls back just in time. Spearman are outmassing Doubt, and Doubt has not actually upgraded his spears at all. Bad news considering you're up against knights, and a questionable play by Doubt. You should know you're going to be up against knights here when you see Castle Age come out. It's the most logical play available to Matisse. Doubt, slow to react. He's going to be punished for this now. This is going to be a 4 relic versus 1 game. At this point, if I'm Doubt, I'm considering the viability of a Burgrave build. And you know what? Burgrave doesn't even look that good here. You've already built 3 military production buildings, and 2 of them are Raxes. You're draining your safe berries. You've got the deer behind, but you're playing a very dangerous game if you go all on a Burgrave. He might not have much choice, though. Playing 800 passive gold compared to your 200. Like, it's just not easy to match. And it means that Dao, probably his best option to recover is to play a defensive style against these knights and try to reach Imperial. But it is going to be the Burgrave, so he is all in, as we discussed. I don't blame him for this play, but I think it feels bad because of the racks. If he had double stables and maybe an archery range, this is not too bad. But now this is going to be a struggle to keep up with. Especially when you consider that Dao is yet to wall himself in. This is going to be a key detail. If he doesn't set up palisades on the north and south side, knights are going to break in and snipe at the back of your eco. And it'll be very easy to do so when you consider that Dao is now going full infantry. That's what this Burgrave says. Like, when Matisse scouts this out, all he sees is, haha, you can't run. Marching drills is cool and all, but it doesn't really compare to knights. Dao finally gets a relic, but this looks really ugly. No, I'm not talking to you in the audience. I'm talking about this matchup right now. Matisse, his timings, his understandings on what was too little, too much in that feudal really set him apart, and he did not hesitate. The moment he saw that secondary TCI Dao, he knew what his destiny was in this game. It was to get castle quickly. And I love that actually about the HRE mirror, is when you see one opponent go towards a TC, you know, in some matchups, your choice is, oh, I'll have to go TC as well. That feels bad because all you're doing is reacting to your opponent's play and playing from behind. With the HRE, you have this option to go towards that castle age instead, and it really can make the world of difference. So I think we're going to see in the coming minutes. And you're already seeing the impact of it. All this extra gold, the knights he was able to start building, the fact he can now get Langsneck. Seeing those knights. I wonder when they find their way around. Doubt. Cardinal sin not walling yourself in this situation. More villagers. I don't know where they're going. There's nowhere safe down there. Oops. Matisse does need to be careful as he doesn't have scouting vision in this area. But he does have an easy way out. Doubt, although he's 10 villages ahead, he's not. Remember, the gold trickle, the difference we're talking about here is 600 gold per minute. That is effectively 15 villagers gathering. Without, of course, the HRE's buffed up raids. So that's where things become skewed, by the way. Because the HRE gather almost 50% faster, you have to, like, calculate that into the numbers. It's still slightly in favor of Matisse, though. The extra gold really is making the difference. In fact, when you look at the income per minute, you can see Matisse is dominating in every single category. Now, of course, for the moment, Doubt is idling a lot of villagers as they're being chased around, but even when they're all working at the same time, he's behind. And the fact that he's going into farms while being dove by knights is problematic. It's just the difference in these Archons as well. One was so much more effective than the other. We're seeing how much Doubt is struggling to kind of keep up. The fact that he needs to go into prelates just to try and actually buff his lines. And remember, he's sacrificing villager production to do that, as he doesn't have a monastery. Meanwhile, on the other side, Matisse, he can start spamming prelates because he has the regnants that functions as a monastery. And it's actually to his benefit to do so, because if he gets up to double digits on the prelate count, the healing, it's going to make so much difference in these battles. Matisse, I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes Imperial here. He has a much easier Imperial timing than Doubt. Doubt's the one who has to push. And just with a few Langsneck, you actually have enough to defend against man-at-arms and spears, which is really all that Doubt can afford. With this Burgrave build, it's really all that he can do. With a lack of gold, he really just can't even go for the Langsneck that he would need himself to match it. Evo's the really scary part about this. Doubt. That army's out of position. Langsneck! Doubt! That is not the fight to take. Absolute wipe. Spanked by the big boy swords. And practically no damage done. Worse than that, no damage will be done in the end. These prelates can heal off what little was done by Doubt. It's a heavy hit. Several man-at-arms going down. For a player who's forced to make a farm transition because he's running out of food. This is becoming problematic. Doubt also still not walling himself in at all. Matisse would have the option to raid, but instead, he takes the option to tech. And this Imperial Age timing, make no mistake, folks, Doubt cannot match it. In fact, in this game, if Doubt tries to go for Imp, I think Matisse just wins. Doubt's only option will be to double down on this castle timing. And it's so difficult to do now that you're up against Langsneck. You don't actually have an answer to it at all in your configuration. You see his reaction is to get Langsnick of his own for the time being. This is his only option. The problem is that, you know, you're using blunt swords. Matisse soon is going to be using very pointy sticks. His boys are going to sharpen up. Imperial Age is now being built into Palace of Schwabia on the front line. And I wouldn't be surprised if the first thing he upgrades upon arriving are these bad boys right here. Woo. You know, you think having a sword that big, there's a risk you just, I don't know, get stuck on a stone and trip over. But they seem to make it work. Do you ever think there was a height requirement to be a Langsneck just because of that risk of dragging the sword, you know? You know how they say, like, stormtroopers, like, they can't be too short? Maybe it's the same for the Langsneck. Only unlike stormtroopers, these guys hit. And they hit hard. And this fight is going to hit hard. Doubt has to take it. Matisse doesn't want it yet. He's going to back up. He sees what Doubt has to do, and he won't let him have it for free. Langsneck in the choke point, problematic. Doubt wants no piece of it. Trying to wrap in now with the second wave, but these buildings are actually working against him. Hasn't really got the quantity of Langsneck he'd like for these type of fights, and you can see Matisse is intentionally peeling off one Langsneck at a time to delay him. Even if he swings once, it ends up being a reasonable trade if he hits 5 targets. Proves that sometimes precision isn't required, guys. Size does matter. If you've got a sword big enough that if you just swing, you're always going to hit something, then who cares about practice? I guess the person that wants to come home from war alive, but I don't think these bad lads care. They say for the Empire and roll in. Doubt. I mean, these stagger formations trying to help him, but it's slowing him down on the retreat. Still taking heavy casualties. Doubt has a military lead for the moment. Eco lead is disappearing quickly, though. Everything is clearly beginning to favor Matisse. Matisse, who now has begun some upgrades. Langsneck are going to be elite status in 30 seconds. Herbal Medicine also queued to offset any damage being done. That's the difference here. Remember, Doubt did not get a monastery. He does not have good gold trickle. He does not have prelates on the front line. Meanwhile, Matisse, he's getting Herbal Medicine. He could even think about Inspired Warriors. Inspired Warriors, by the way, is phenomenal in Langsneck. For right now, for example, if he was to actually Inspired Warrior buff these Langsneck, they go from 17 damage to 20 damage. Why is that a big deal? They get 20 damage when they go to elite status. So what you're doing by having Inspired Warriors at any stage of the game on Langsneck, you're putting them one tech ahead. There you go, guys. You wanted to know? Like, people have been wondering, is there going to be an Age 5 in Age of Empires 4? Yes. It's called Inspired Warriors Langsnecks. They're your future tech boys. The future is not looking good for Doubt. Lots of Langsneck can be flopped down quickly. Elite Langsneck not only hitting harder, but also having more health. Doubt. He got these outposts up. He was a frustration, but Matisse still has access to wood on the south side. To be honest, he doesn't even need wood right now. Think about what's in the composition. You've got Langsneck and Knights and Prelates. That's pretty much all you need. So you only need food and gold. He's got his food off the farms. He's got his gold from the relics. So the only way that Doubt can make this work is if he can torch down all the farms. I just don't see that happening easily. Matisse now, of course, having the eco lead for the first time in the game. Military is neck and neck. Whew. Doubt needs to protect his neck, protect his jugular. These Knights, if they start just leaking out, they're going to make their way to the back of your base, and they're going to draw military force away from the front line. Something you can't afford right now. Then again, your front line isn't looking like it's going to last long now that the bombards have arrived. Fight on the north side did not go well for Doubt. Never expected to. Only 1 or 2 Langsneck in there, which is why you can see so many orange corpses. I mean, I think for Doubt, the only way back in is maybe you get Siege, but you are up against Knights. I think you have to go Mango, though. It's not the easiest thing to clean up Langsneck with, but like you don't have a way of out Langsnecking. You don't have a way of out-snaking Snake. If your name was Viper, maybe. But right now, Doubt has 1 Lance Connect, and Matisse has 20 Lance Connects. Even if Matisse had to perfectly surround that 1 Langsneck before attacking, Doubt would kill 0 Langsnecks. But Doubt, he turns his Spotify music up. He says, la 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 la, I can't hear you, KP. And continues to bash his head against the wall. What other choice does he really have right now? Oh, he can't choose to tech up. His eco just isn't good enough. He could do with a sidestep, but I'm still looking at that Siege Workshop and think that's the way to go. The problem is if you just keep doing this same thing over and over again, I don't know if we're going to commit you to an insane asylum or an old people's home. But it's going to be one of them now. Because all you're doing is ensuring that Matisse is somewhat condensed while he continues to escalate his eco and his military gradually. And you're not doing anything beneficial for yourself. Mike's second again. Oh my god! These units are ridiculous. These units are absurd. Sometimes it looks like they've got a Zweihander and duct tape to a spear. The reach on them. Look at the damage, the cleanup. Instantaneous. Outpost also now being cleaned up, and Doubt, uh-oh, someone forgot to do more than just fortify these bad boys. Touchdown's gonna commence. Matisse could benefit from some more prelates. He's still got 5 to play with, and he could use them to heal, but why heal, guys? Healthcare is important. Is it not cheaper to just raise a new kid and teach them how to hold a 2-handed sword? Yes. Yes, it is. Oh my god. This is like being chased by zombies. But in one of those movies where they're actually scary. I just actually don't think Doubt has changed anything about his tactics in the last 5 minutes. Okay, 4 minutes, because he eventually got Langsneck, right? But the problem with that is you can see what's coming. The rest of the elite statuses, as well as elite army tactics. At which stage these Langsneck are going to be hitting for about 25 damage. Even more if Inspired Warriors comes through. I actually, like, when you sit there and think about those numbers, you realize how scary Langsneck can be. And make no mistake about it, folks. When you get into a game like this in an HRE mirror, Langsneck are the thing that wins or loses the game. Because the difference with this matchup compared to a lot of other ones is it's all melee. It's so often all melee, and I think that's another downside for Doubt. It's like, look at the comp you're up against. It's Langsneck, spears, and a few knights. You could have went crossbows, you could have went archers. There are options available. Instead, he keeps building melee. And a lot of it is not Langsneck because he can't afford it. I mean, like, Doubt has, by some miracle, gone up to 11 Langsneck. At which point, Matisse is up at 31. Oh, good lord, and he's not slowing down. Even getting a safe pocket eco. Doubt, he's kept Matisse contained, but I think that's coming to an end now. It's like you put King Kong in a plastic cage. It was never going to hold him. Maybe confuse him for a moment. And now, the king of the primates is out. This is where he's going to get spooky. Yeah, I said primate, deal with it. Knights are just trying to bait a fight out of Doubt. Doubt reluctantly will take it. In the rear side as he tries to run away. The pinch is coming in. This is his best opportunity, but the staggered formation to make sure there's not too much clustering. And he baits him. He tries to aggro him off the side, buys enough time. He'll clean up the south side flank while a few troops hold back and kill off the north. Hail the king in the north, Matisse. The Langsneck reigns supreme. Doubt is done. Whew. This unit hits how Imperial should hit. Army wiped in a matter of seconds.